Wellness Wednesday. We're a week into the new year, and if you're still figuring out how to make your resolution stick, we can help. We have registered dietitian Kyle Camp from St. Alphonsus, Boise with us this morning for the latest edition of Wellness Wednesday. Good morning, Kyle.
Morning, appreciate you having me.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by. We've got quite the spread here we'll talk about. But first, we want to know, how many people do you see asking you, hey, I want to change my diet for my New Year's resolution this year?
Yeah, so people have a variety of different resolutions that they want to set, but most of those will be in some form of nutrition, diet, some sort of habit change along those lines, and usually tied to weight as opposed to, like an athletic endeavor or something like that.
And what's the biggest thing that I guess makes people not be successful with their plan?
Hands down, the biggest thing is it's some sort of an unrealistic expectation of what it'll do, an unrealistic expectation of the time frame it will take, or just an unrealistic plan that they begin.
Okay, so what advice do you have for people, though, who are trying to change their diet? And I guess no matter what kind of diet you're going with, you just say stick with it is the big one, right?
Absolutely. So the first one would be to do that, to make a plan, and that plan needs to be realistic. 80% of people that set a resolutions usually abandon their resolutions by the second week of February. So if you set a realistic plan, or if you set a plan and you can't picture yourself following that in the second week of February, then you need to abandon that plan and come up with plan B.
Okay.
So that's important. But regardless of what diet you follow, there are still three really important things that every plan needs to include. So the first over here, you'll see that you need to have some sort of a plan for measurement.
Okay.
So whether it's a plate, this is my 8-month-old plate, but you get a good picture of it because it sort of breaks up different portion sizes. You could use something simple like a deck of cards. You could use something more formal and more numbers driven in terms of a scale, or even measuring cups. You could use your hand. There's a number of things you could measure, but in addition to that, it's important that you measure not just outcomes, but effort. You can't control, if weight loss is your goal, you can't control, in spite of all your effort, if the number didn't come down as much as you wanted, but you can control, did you snack on fruit more than chips, for instance, right? So and control or measure effort as more than outcomes.
What about staying accountable?
So staying accountable, tracking would be another way that you could stay accountable. It doesn't really matter the method so much as you do something, right? So it could be something as simple as like a handwritten journal. It could be a web-based platform like MyFitnessPal, where you use an app. You could use Excel. You could use anything that you want. You could use your notes section in your phone. So what you do really doesn't matter so long as you do something and you can remain accountable to that.
Okay, and what's your last one?
The last one would be to be prepared in some fashion. So most times when you sit down with someone and they say, I've abandoned my resolutions, and you ask why, it was because they started out not being prepared. So they have some sort of a diet that they're following, and they have, I'll say, okay, well, what happened? Well, I didn't plan anything, so I just grabbed whatever I could. So setting yourself up for that, we're all going to eat, right? So the food, you might as well buy the food that you're going to eat.
So easy to just go through the drive-through at the fast food restaurant when you don't have what you need with you.
Absolutely. So buying pre-portioned packages of nuts, good protein snacks like cheese, individual pieces of fruit, yogurt, microwavable rice. So if you get home in the evening and you'd planned a meal but you got home late, you have an option with steamable bags of different foods, picking up a rotisserie chicken, having that on hand. So you have at least some fallback, even if it's less than ideal than what you were hoping for, like cooking a meal or whatever.
All right, Kyle, great tips this morning. And we want to recommend everyone to stalphonsus.org and click classes and events for any upcoming seminars that Kyle might have. Thank you so much for stopping by today.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.